All right, I'm going to demonstrate for you how to remove a bind off. So binding off is when you take your set of live stitches that you've been working with and you simply take them off of your needle to close up your work that you're working on. And sometimes in a pattern you may bind off your piece and then later discover that you didn't go quite long enough, so you want to bring those stitches back to live again. So what we're going to do to bring these live again is remove this bind off and put those live stitches back onto our needle. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove that last little slip knot that you made to close off your work. So just pick out that yarn tail. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to locate that last bind off that you made, which is, if you look closely here, this is our final little loop that we passed over. This is our last bind off right here. So we're just going to insert our needle into that loop, our right needle, and then we're going to take our left needle and we're going to pull this little tail back here so we can locate our last knit stitch, which is right here. Okay. So we've got our last knit stitch that we knitted, and then this is our last bind off. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull, I actually already did it, just pull your yarn, and that's going to pull out that last knit stitch. Okay, and what I do continental, so I always hold my working yarn in my left hand. But if you're used to throwing or doing the English style, you can hold it in your right hand. That's not a problem. But what you'll want to do is just remember that you want your yarn tail showing from the left side of your work. It's just a little bit easier to tell where your previous knit stitch was at. So I'm just going to show it to you with it in my left hand. Okay, so here's our previous knit stitch, and here is our previous bind off. So what you'll do is you'll just kind of loosen up this bind off stitch right here, and you're going to pull out your right needle and locate the previous bind off, which would be right here. And you're just going to pick up that bind off in that left loop, and then you're going to kind of twist your work and locate your previous knit stitch, and you can see it right here. It's this little V. Okay, and you're just going to insert your needle from front to back into that previous knit stitch, and then you're already holding your bind off, and now all you're going to do is just pull the yarn out, pop it behind that left needle. Okay, so now we have 2 knit stitches, and then we have our last bind off here. So if we're wanting to remove this entire row of bind off, we'll just continue this way. So again, you just locate your previous knit stitch by kind of pulling on that yarn. Here's our knit stitch right here. Insert your needle. Okay. Loosen up this bind off loop, pull out, locate the previous bind off. Okay. And then pull your yarn. Just like that. And once you get the hang of what you're doing here, it's easy to just kind of go along, move along a little faster paced. As you can see, it's a little simpler, for me anyway, to hold my working yarn in the left hand. I kind of use my middle finger, you'll notice, to kind of, see, pop it off. And you just continue this way until you get to the very end of where you started your bind off. That way you can, when you get back to the bind off and pick up your last live stitch, you can continue knitting and then bind off again where you need to. But this is how you remove a bind off.